106 countries, 43 podcast platforms, and now live streaming all week from Detroit, Michigan. My name is Matt Kirkner. I am the host of the Tech Guide podcast. We are at Automate, the largest gathering for automation in North America, and we are live streaming from the FANUC Education Pavilion. FANUC, a champion level sponsor for Automate, and we are actually really privileged to be kicking off our discussions taking place all week here at Automate with an individual from A3. That's the organization that is putting this amazing show on. 25,000 people from all over the globe coming to see the latest in automation and technology. It's my great pleasure to welcome to
here this week.
And excited is exactly the right word. You can just feel the energy here. You feel the excitement. You feel the enthusiasm for new manufacturing technology, new automation technology. I know you share a passion, as do I, for just all the amazing times in which we live and all the great technologies that are on offer here at Automate. I can't think of a better way to kick off our discussion this week than with Ritch Ramey. As we mentioned, you're the Director of Education for A3. A3 is putting on this whole show. Absolutely incredible. Tell us about, let's start with the mission and vision for A3. Why do you exist in the first place?
Well, A3 started in 1974. We're the world advocate for anybody who wants to automate, for promoting automation, for education automation, and just a resource, a clearinghouse for any information that companies may need to start up an automation. And with our over 1,200 members, and all of them are such specialists in their area that when you go to an A3 meeting or in an event like this and you see how they collaborate together, I mean, there's a lot of synergy that comes off of this as well for engineering and automation and robotics. It's just a phenomenal organization, and the people are great, and they're so enthusiastic about what they're doing, but they're willing to collaborate and share their information. And so as an organization, we support that. And that's a part of our mission, is to help support that.
So supporting all of that collaboration, you're exactly right. And if anybody knows anything about the world of automation, it's that none of these technologies exist in a vacuum, right? It's all about integration. It's all about connecting great technologies, and in your case, connecting great people. I think your whole concept of being a clearinghouse for information, I love your use of that term, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're taking all of this tremendous information, tremendous amounts of data that exists in terms of new products, new technologies, new applications, pulling those all together, and then educating 1,200 members and even more individuals around all of those different technologies and how we integrate them together. That's what automation is all about. That is what Automate is all about. If I am new to this whole, I was here a year ago, it's amazing. If I'm brand new to Automate, what can people expect when they walk in the doors of this incredible conference?
Well, I know the first thing, everybody's shocked at how many robots and how much automation and the latest technologies here, how many actual they're replicating a lot of processes, and some of them are real processes that are being done out in industry. It's just a phenomenal trade show. And so if you want to learn about, what is palletizing, or what is AI, or what's mobile robotics, or collaborative robots, this is the place to be. Or if you're looking for a job or a possible career change, this is the place to be. If you're a student in robotics and automation, this is the place to be. You really need to come and see what's going on this week.
Absolutely.
And it's free.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Free.
You walk in the door, it's absolutely free. And the education that people are going to receive here, both in terms of attending the just incredible conference schedule that you have. I was going through that over the weekend. It's just an amazing collaboration and collection of speakers and subject matter experts that are sharing their knowledge of automation, their knowledge of automation applications with your audience here. That's an incredible opportunity. So much to learn about all these technologies. And certainly when we talk about learning automation, the audience that we think is probably the absolute most important audience to reach now is our nation's young people, as we think about how we inspire them toward these incredible careers that many of them don't even know exist. So talk a bit about how A3 and Automate specifically inspires that next generation and promotes careers in advanced manufacturing to that next generation of talent.
We're right on the main education cul-de-sac sponsored by FANUC. And when you walk down the cul-de-sac here, you start with high school and college educational programming. And then as you advance into training and more advanced training that they have down through the process, the way. And then you see what FANUC, all the different products that they have. If if you're an in education, educator or a student, and you walk down through here and you say, hey, you know what, I want that training in my school, they have answers for you. And so that's really important to me as an educator. I have been in the educational field. I need to know what's the current equipment. How do I get it? How do I get trained? Because as a teacher, it's hard for me to stay up on the latest technology. So when I see what FANUC has down this educational cul-de-sac here, I'm really excited because no matter what level I am K to grade in training, they have some type of answer for me or someone that can help me out.
And it is K to gray. I mean, it's starting as early as our elementary and middle school students, inspiring them toward these careers, and then all the way into industrial training for the incumbent workforce who is working in manufacturing, working in advanced manufacturing already, but in a world that is changing at incredible speed. So the skills that helped me be successful in manufacturing 10 years ago are not the skills that are going to necessarily benefit me today, at least not all of them, and certainly 10 years from now. So staying on top of this technology, I'm so glad you mentioned the partnership with FANUC. We are here in the FANUC Education Pavilion. People can't see it here on the screen, but just a tremendous number of folks that are walking past. I bet since I started asking this next question, probably 20 people have walked by, and it's just incredible to see this group of people all excited about the future of automation, all excited about technology. We'll be joined all week, by the way, by representatives of FANUC. Jim Cooper coming on with us later this week. Lou Finazzo is going to be on. Mike Chico stopped by this morning to welcome us, the president and CEO of FANUC America. Mike is going to join us later this week. But we're kicking it off with Ritch Ramey, who is the director of education for A3. You mentioned, Rich, that you have a background in education, and particularly technical education. I think that really influences, I'm sure, your ability to help lead the education initiatives for an organization like A3. So I want you to think about that background. I want you to think about all the cutting-edge technologies that we're seeing here at Automate, and just in terms of the evolution of manufacturing technology. As you think about that, Rich, what do we need to do to change education so that we're responding to this next generation of technology, the next generation of students, and really creating that workforce that's going to help drive America in North America and really the globe into the future? How do we need to change and morph education, and let's say K-12 in particular?
There's a couple keys, and it's really a partnership that we need to establish with A3 and other organizations and manufacturing in general. When you see, like Ramtech across the way here is a school I used to work for, and they have a booth up here. How we were able to be successful is we got industry to engage with us. We asked them to come in, and we said, hey, what do you want us to do to help partner with you to get you the manufacturing workforce that you want? We listened to them, and sometimes it wasn't an easy listen, because they told us things we were doing wrong. But we tried to move at the speed of business. And I had an old boss named Chuck Spielman, when we built our facility, said, we're going to move at the speed of business, because education and government's usually not as fast. Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, it's sometimes financially painful to try to keep up. It's an expensive proposition. But the money is only a little part of the problem. The major problem is you have to engage with industry. And industry, if you want to get those 3.1 million workers that we need,
right,
and to solve our problem today with advanced technologies and technician training, we need to open our doors to industry and have them come in and help us train. If there's a robot contest, it's great to have industry there engaged as judges. If you need a speaker, industry, they make great speakers. If you need a tour, you need to go out and see the facilities. The modern facilities today are amazing. They're pristine, advanced technology. They pay great. They're exciting careers. So it needs to be a partnership. We need to open our doors, but industry also, you can't just send a letter out to a college anymore saying I need a worker.
Right.
Because most of these students graduating from high school and college today already have 5 or 6 job offers. If students come here today looking for a job, they will leave here with 4 or 5 job offers. Mm-hmm. So it's a seller's market today.
Right.
And so students can come in and say, hey, I want to do this or this and work in an area. But if I was industry, I would do like a lot of companies have done. I would work the events. I would come into schools. I would partner with them. The big thing is I get to see the kids that are really have drank the Kool-Aid that really want to be in the field.
Right.
And I call it cherry pick. I can say this kid in junior high or high school, I followed them all the way through their career. And when they graduate, I know them on a first name basis.
Exactly.
I'm offering them a job because I know they want to be there. versus if you haven't done that, you don't know if they really want to go to work. And these kids had aptitude and attitude.
For sure.
That's the key for me. But it is, like FANUC is here today, and a lot of other companies, they all have training programs. They all offer industrial credentials, and the students get the same training in high school or college that they get if they're an incumbent worker or if they're a worker on the in a factory who come for training. They get the same skill set. And that's critical that they understand how industry works.
Absolutely. And none of that happens without those industrial partnerships. As you know, I spent 23 years as a manufacturing CEO before moving over to the education side, now some 8 years ago, something like that. And that was a lesson I learned the hard way. You know, we had a very advanced manufacturing operation that was headquartered in Wisconsin. We had a plant in the state of Indiana, another one in Iowa, and we recruited a lot of welding talent. And I went and I spoke to our local community college, and this is years ago, and a whole presentation about our company, how great it was, you know, why the students in that program should continue to come or consider coming to work in our industry. And I got to the end of the semester, and not a single student picked up the phone, no resumes, nothing. And I called the instructor and said, well, what's that about? I mean, I invested all this time. I came down to the college. I gave this big presentation, and he kind of almost started laughing. And he's like, oh, no. He's like, the companies that get our talent are serving on our advisory boards. The companies that get our talent are bringing pizza every other week. They're meeting with the customers. They're coming, or with the students. They're coming to the career fairs. They're supporting our programs with their treasure. Their logos are all over the lab and so on. And that is a big part of how we build those kinds of relationships. You're right. There is a different speed between education and industry. I learned that the hard way. But when education can move at the speed of business, as you suggest, Rich, there's no question that we can create those types of partnerships, that they will be supportive, and especially if we can show them how a pipeline of talent will reach their doors as we create those relationships. Really, really important. So I know you've been around all kinds of fascinating applications of industrial technology and education. You mentioned Ramtech certainly is one example. Are there other examples that you'd like to highlight of organizations or school districts or community colleges that are getting this right as far as developing their programs around advanced manufacturing?
Yeah, San Jacinto College, I think, is in California, has done a great job. Amtech in Tampa is doing an amazing job in the Tampa area. Initially, they started taking trailers out to areas with underserved population, and they'd actually do soldering and go through basic electronics and stuff in the trailer, blueprint reading and all that, and then they'd put them to work. And it's expanded now to where they're getting robotics certification training. They're building facilities. They're expanding out in the 3-county area around Tampa, and they're going to keep growing. But they have a model that they go to the community and train them, hands-on training. And of course, they've got jobs that follow that.
Sure. And
there are people that they want to change careers, but you know, it's scary. And sometimes you don't know where to go for training.
Right.
And a Motlow College in Tennessee is doing a good job. Arizona State, Purdue, they're building tremendous training centers. When Columbus State and Ohio, ARM in Pittsburgh has created a nice training area in Western Pennsylvania. And these are all best practices that you see around the country. I mean, you see high schools around the country. I think there's probably 2,000 schools now that have industrial robotics into the schools. And I think FIRST Robotics Contest and VEX, RACF, between the two, they have over 2 million students in the pipeline worldwide. Project Lead the Way's in 12,000 schools in the country teaching engineering and robotics and automation. So when you see what's going on, and there's a lot of great things happening, and what we're trying to do at A3, we're bringing them all together this week for an education committee, because we want to develop a K to Gray pathway, bring all the organizations together to support with our membership, build a huge asset map so that if you're in industry and you want to know, maybe, I don't know, in my backyard, there's like 5 robotics contests within 30 miles of me. I've got 400 kids who are learning robotics and I don't know it.
Right.
I should be out there working with them, judging contests, helping them, you know, with their training and guest speaking and plant tours, show off my facility. I want you to come here when you're 18. You can make $100,000 a year.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and think about that. I mean, students graduating from high school with the right amount of background, with the right amount of skills and aptitudes towards automation and towards advanced manufacturing technology. You make $100,000 a year as an 18-year-old. You drive any pickup truck you want. You can consider living any place you want. The future is yours. You're not saddled with a bunch of college debt. Not that that's necessarily bad, but certainly there are other opportunities and options that we need to make sure that our young people understand. I mean, that's the message that should resonate with anybody, graduating from high school and making $100,000 a year. And we're not making that up. I mean, I can share examples of where I am in the state of Wisconsin, where we have exactly those types of things going on. So it's absolutely fascinating to think about these absolutely incredible opportunities for the next generation of our workforce. To your earlier point, these types of careers, the manufacturing operations are pristine. They're full of technology. If you haven't been in an advanced manufacturing facility, people would be shocked at what they look like. And we've got all these people that are maybe working in hospitality or working in retail, or now even some folks that were working in, with the FANG companies and in tech, where maybe the opportunities aren't what they were 5 years ago. Those opportunities are alive and well in manufacturing. We need to port those folks over. How do we create that next generation of manufacturing talent? And we do it by inspiring young people, as you mentioned, through things like Vex Robotics and First Robotics and kind of that continuum. You capture them in middle school, get them excited about competition, and then give them those hands-on skills on robots like the ones that we see here in the FANUC Pavilion. You mentioned a couple thousand schools across the United States now alone, up to 1,700 different schools that are teaching on their platform across the U.S. and now inspiring those young people toward these incredible careers. And when they get into the world of automation, Rich, and they come to a place like Automate, and you walk through here. I mean, I was looking at the banners before the attendees started coming in. I came in a little bit earlier, and it's IoT, it's smart manufacturing, it's artificial intelligence, it's collaborative robots. I mean, the technology here is just, it's impossible to describe to somebody without them being one of those 25,000 people that will walk through the doors over the course of this week and seeing all this incredible technology that is being driven by all kinds of macroeconomic trends, all kinds of technology trends. When you think about some of the major trends or drivers toward automation, is there a specific one that you would want to highlight for our audience?
Well, I think, we're all concerned with AI. We hear the goods and the bads of AI, but we all use it every day on our smartphones. To get to this convention center, I use GPS. Right. That's AI.
Yeah, of course it is.
And so we need to, we're working on that as an organization too, to help our members with AI, but that's something that's really coming. Just any kind of interoperability where, we can teach students robots, we can teach them PLCs, but out in the real world, you got to know how to connect that all together and make it work.
Yep.
And that's the interoperability systems approach is coming as well. Collaborative mobile robot, we see all that coming. And just this week, you heard Wendy's announce they're going to go to automated kiosks or drive-throughs with food being served through conveyors underneath. There's a McDonald's in Ohio and in Las Vegas, both. I've seen that, they're completely automated. So even the food industry is automated. So if, you don't have to be a 6-axis robot expert.
Exactly.
And that's where I think the youth of today are the easiest to work with because they don't have a box.
Right.
They see outside the box, right?
Absolutely. And so many of these competencies that they're learning port themselves over into so many different verticals. As you think about the continuum of, smart devices and smart sensors out on the edge that are gathering information and communicating with each other and making their own decisions, all that information goes up to some version of a control system. And from the control system, it goes up to some version of a computer network. From the computer network, it goes up to some version of a data collector and then up to the cloud. And we've got these cloud-based applications that are now gathering all this data, predicting future failure, ordering their own replacement parts. I mean, it really is just an incredible world that we're living in. And that vertical certainly is alive and well in advanced manufacturing, but it's also alive and well in, to your point, fast food and in hospitality and in retail and certainly in, transportation. So there's all these different applications of that same continuum that our students can learn about and then put those learnings and put that knowledge to work. And it is going to be incredible. I mean, you think about In the old days, maybe working as somebody who's flipping burgers at McDonald's. Well, in the future, maybe that job is automated, but somebody's got to take care of that robot, and somebody's got to take care of that overall system in terms of how we're managing that technology through the whole operation. So that is the type of career that people here, and I understand Thursday's Workforce Day here at Automate. You're going to have, how many students are you expecting coming through?
There's over 200 easily now. We might be hitting 300.
Wow. So we'll have 300 students that are here thinking about these young people's looking at robotics, looking at automation, looking at control systems, looking at AI, all these autonomous mobile robots that we see. I've seen several of those companies here, including I think Auto Motors is right around the corner. But that technology is incredible. You highlighted some really interesting educators that are doing fascinating things in the world of upskilling the next generation of ours, which is the whole interoperability side of this thing. MT-Link I, one of many cloud-based platforms, but certainly one that FANUC advocates for and offers, where you can connect not just FANUC robots and not just FANUC CNC controls and FANUC machine tools, but literally any manufacturing operation that can communicate via OPC UA. I happen to see the OPC booth not too far from us. So now you can gather information from every single PLC, machine tool, conveyor, sensor, robot, in your entire manufacturing operation, gather all that data, and then to your earlier point on the AI trend, utilize all that information to predict the future and to improve the performance of manufacturing operations. Such a fascinating world that we're living in, and it's going to be just an amazing week at Automate. I want to close out our time here with Ritch Ramey, who is the Director of Education for A3, putting on this incredible show this week, and it's impossible to describe unless you're walking through the door. But I want to ask you a question, Rich, that we ask every single guest here on the Tech Ed podcast, and we'll reflect for a moment on your background. You've got a really cool job now. I mean, what could be better than being the Director of Education for something that's absolutely on the bleeding edge of technology, but you spent all these years in technical education, obviously had that path and inspired numerous young people and people of all ages towards amazing careers. I want you to turn the clock all the way back before that to when you were a 15-year-old, maybe you were a sophomore in high school, and if you could look that kid in the eye and give him one piece of advice as he's thinking about his future, what would the 15-year-old Ritch Ramey want to hear?
Besides buy Apple stock, don't worry about the 4-year degree. Go do what you're passionate. Because if you do what you're passionate about, the money doesn't matter. You'll make money because people want you around if you have a passion for what you're doing.
Sure.
And so, that's what I always tell students, if you have a passion for something, that's the area you want to go to work in because you're going to do phenomenal things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's beautiful to be able to get up every day and love going to work. I haven't worked a day in probably 25 years because the jobs that I've had, fortunately enough, have been ones that I feel like I'm making a huge difference, and I feel like I'm working with people who want to make a huge difference. And it's just fun. I mean, to be able to sit here and have a conversation with somebody like you who's achieved what you have in the world of technical education, all the way to Director of Education for this huge operation called A3. I mean, it's just a blessing to be able to have those conversations, to do a little bit, or my little part of inspiring the next generation toward careers in advanced manufacturing and other careers in technology. Really, really exciting, and I think that's absolutely fascinating advice. Let's not worry about the 4-year degree. Keep your options open. Certainly, if I've got somebody doing open heart surgery on me, that person probably needs a 4-year degree and beyond. That's fine. But there's so many incredible careers that don't require one. Or if you're interested in pursuing that, lots of opportunities to exit high school, get a really cool job in advanced manufacturing, and almost without exception, your employer will help you with your education over time. So I appreciate you helping us, Rich, with our education around A3, around Automate, around the incredible work you're doing, around how we inspire these students toward the next generation of amazing manufacturing careers. It's a blessing to have you on. Appreciate your time this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.